And we're live. Drew, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. You got me?
All right. Yes, I got you. Let's switch over. Actually, we don't need that slide. So, hey, welcome to the live podcast. Not just a live podcast. We actually are going deeper into the product that you built, how you're thinking about Web3, how you're thinking about customer engagement, wallet messaging. I want to make a really bold statement here. I think you might be. And this is actually a very conservative statement. I think you have to be top 10 in the world in terms of thinking about wallet messaging and marketing and customer engagement. I feel like you have to be a top 10 thinker in the world, at least.
I take that as a big compliment. So thank you. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing in terms of am I delusional in my view of the future, or am I just really early in where we're going? But I'm super excited to be here and join this. Thank you for letting me share more about Holder and kind of my thinking here, and then hopefully I can share some thoughts and wisdom around where I think how do we think about engagement and on-chain activity and identity, and as more and more of what we do moves on chain, I think all this becomes even more and more vital and more important, and super exciting to kind of see a glimpse of where I think the future is heading.
Well, you're no doubt at the forefront, and one of the things that I have found challenging about podcasts where we talk to cool people is how much deeper can we actually go? So part of our presentation style here is to actually have some companion slides and get into the meat of the product that you've built, Holder, and use that as a way to go deeper into the conversation than just sitting here talking about cool stuff. So without further ado, actually, before we do that, surprise guest. Drew, I didn't tell you that Dan would be here. But Dan's going to join us along the way. Dan, how you doing? Can we hear you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm just here to pop in with different kind of questions and thoughts and things like that, maybe regarding like community strategy and things that we can kind of learn a little bit more about. Definitely had a good time hanging out with you, Drew, at Eat Denver. So looking forward to this for sure.
I missed East Denver.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
I'm hoping to make it to consensus. Okay. I love this surprise guest strategy here. Like Drew didn't even tell Drew that we were going to have a co-host with us. So all right, let's jump into it. Good. All right. So we're just going to have these slides to guide the conversation. But Drew, why don't you tell us your background? Because you have an incredible background, deep background in Web 2 MarTech, Web 1, Web 2 MarTech. Please don't be bashful. This is tell us how much experience you have, and then use that and set the stage for how did your thinking with that deep background transition into, the desire to build Holder. And then we'll spend the rest of the time basically talking strategy, but also looking at real cool product stuff.
I love it. Yeah, I love this kind of format. And yeah, I'll give kind of a brief introduction and talk about my background a little bit more. And to your point, kind of mostly just to credentialize in terms of, I think it sets up well of how I think about Holder, how I think about the opportunity with Web3, not necessarily just to say, look at all the cool things I've done or kind of boosting my own ego. But I started my career, first job out of college. I studied marketing in college. First job out of college, I started at a company called ExactTarget. And for those of you who have been in kind of led to marketing for a while, particularly on kind of the B2C side, ExactTarget is a really large email marketing software vendor. They were not the first. I told somebody this earlier today. They were not the first company to come up with email marketing. They were founded in 2001, into 2000. But they were in its heyday, clearing away kind of the winner in that category. Like many categories, the person who first comes up with the idea is not always the person that makes all the money, doing that idea. But ExactTarget was phenomenally successful. I joined, they were already a major success when I joined. We're about 1,000 employees based in Indianapolis. But it's huge. We worked with some of the largest retailers in the world, some of the largest banks in the world, from Target, Nike, Gap, Best Buy, Bank of America, tons of organizations sending billions of emails a day. And that really shaped, I think, a lot of my thinking around messaging, around marketing, around kind of automation, around personalization, around one-to-one marketing. A lot of these things were all coming out, as I was there at ExactTarget, these kind of concepts. The Scott Brinker's kind of marketing tech landscape was also just coming out. Like at that time, it was 6,000-7,000 like vendors, and that was like large. We were tracking a lot of this. We got acquired by Salesforce in 2013. And so now like Salesforce Marketing Cloud is ExactTarget. So all of those products within the Salesforce Marketing Cloud are what I got to work on. And then I spent a couple of years at Salesforce in product marketing, corporate marketing. And again, just like kind of reiterating my kind of early upbringing in B2B software and B2B marketing tech, particularly, and kind of seeing that evolution in those kind of years from, the 2012-ish to 2016 kind of timeframe in marketing tech was hugely formative. The founder of ExactTarget, again, named Scott Dorsey, he went on to go start a startup studio and venture studio called High Alpha. And so actually, as they were starting that, I jumped out of Salesforce, and I was the first marketer there at High Alpha. And I led that marketing organization for 6.5 years. We were creating new startups within this venture fund. So the venture fund would invest in the startups. These were all B2B software startups, but had a pretty big bent around marketing tech and sales tech. So we started a couple of like ad tech companies, we invested in a couple other like email messaging companies. We were an investor in Attentive, which is one of the largest like SMS marketing platforms today, multi-billion-dollar company, a handful of other kind of, I would say like new age, email marketing companies. And so like still kind of worked quite a bit in marketing tech. And then, probably like many here in our world, I kind of full on red pilled myself in 2021 into crypto, and, was just fascinated, I'd say, by the emergence of what I would call like the Web3 industry, which was like businesses and people doing things using blockchain technology that had nothing to do with like the financial instrument side of things. And that's kind of for me where I was like, this is a huge kind of opportunity for how to build businesses, for how to connect with customers, to how to build, decentralized customer data structures and everything that kind of went into what eventually became the idea for Holder. And how do you help the businesses that are building in this space connect with their customers and build, more durable, more sustainable businesses? And that's kind of really the mission when I think about Holder is like, how do we help, Web3 businesses grow? How do we help them build durable businesses? And that's kind of our main kind of mission at Holder. And we've gone, deeper and deeper down into now, like really focusing on customer engagement, Web3 messaging and automation. But that's really what brought me here to Holder. And we'll be 2 years old, like officially from the incorporation date here in April. So
when did you join ExactTarget?
Yeah, I joined in 2013.
Okay. So yeah, you're basically going on 10 years of customer engagement, CRM, messaging, one-to-one marketing, and now flipping all that experience into that sort of stuff, but powered by blockchains. So let's jump into it. I see here 95% of Web3 users are completely unreachable. Tell us why, and then we're going to jump into like how Holder, the platform, is solving those problems, and we're going to actually look at the product itself.
Yeah, and this is kind of, I think there's like this slide and one more there, just kind of like the setup. But when I think about one of the largest like problems and challenges for Web3 brands is this. You have your Uniswap or even your Farcaster or any kind of Web3 platform or primitive or protocol. And if people are engaging with your product with their wallet address, you have these users, but you have no idea who they are, and you have no way to reach them. And I just believe that if you can't reach your customers and build loyal, engaging relationships with those customers, you can't build a loyal relationship with them. We see this with OpenSea, for example, where you have no real loyalty to the brand when Blur comes out, because like they can't even really message you to bring you back into the platform because they have no idea who you are.
That was a great so if you're not familiar with that, it's like OpenSea was dominating. Blur came in and basically stole a ton of market share, but OpenSea, because everybody uses their wallet, has no relationship with their customers, no way to talk to them. They're basically saying, all we can do is post on Twitter and hope the message gets out to the 2 billion people that traded on our platform. So like these Web3 native brands and companies are having this problem, but any legacy brand that starts to get into the space as well will have these problems. So yeah, that's super important setup.
Yeah. And so today, like when you think about the platform, kind of the marketing platform, and it all kind of, I try to kind of gear the actual kind of like demo slides we'll go through, like what does it look like to set up a campaign and holder.
Yeah.
But kind of a lot of it boils down into three main pillars. But the first is we spend a lot of time on what we call our wallet data platform. And I'll go a little bit more into this later, but really this is like, think of customer data platform and how, this has become a major, both buzzword in like marketing tech, but also like kind of category of software. But really, like, what is customer data in Web3? It's blockchain data. But that blockchain data is really structured in a way to be able to like run the ledger. It is a ledger. It is not a customer data platform. And so basically what we do is we kind of ingest blockchain data and kind of reorganize it in a way that's more akin to CRM and customer data systems, which also gives us a really easy way to then combine like off-chain data. So email addresses or phone numbers or, custom tags or other data types to these addresses. So that's kind of all sits in the back end, and we call our wallet data platform. It's accessible via API even, which we'll get into, but the UI on top of it is our audience builder and CRM. These are, instead of a name and an email address in a CRM database, it's just wallet addresses. And so we let you run robust segmentation and kind of build audience segments and lists on top of your CRM, bringing in lots of on-chain and off-chain data points. But then we think really the rubber hits the road with wallet messaging. So, it's incredible to know, who are your top users or all this information around, different wallet addresses. But what we want to help people do is take the next step to actually engage them and bring them back into their application, to let them know about, a new feature that's launching, or get them to mint, the NFT that's dropping, to engage on chain in some way. And so that's where we built out a wallet messaging platform. We also have an email marketing platform, which is funny to come back to the roots inside of Folder. That's where we started, like even before kind of XMTP and wallet messaging was really a big thing. We started with email. So we still have some customers who use this just for email marketing because we're a crypto friendly, email marketing service.
Yeah. Well, the new omni-channel, I've said it before, I'm going to keep saying it, and hopefully this will catch on. But the new omni-channel is offline, online, on-chain, and you've got to do it all, and you've got to connect the dots as best that you can. But like you said and set up, a lot of our on-chain customer relationships, which is actually kind of, it's a good thing. It can be a good thing. We're not going to know who these people are, and they're going to have more control over their relationship with the brand than ever. And that's good, right? We want all our customers to have more control. So love it. All right, you kind of talked about the API structure.
Yeah.
Let's rather than like talking like technical things here, let's talk like big picture and kind of strategy. So you've got this platform, you're connecting customers, whether it's with their Web3 native brands or legacy brands, but like, why did you build this? What was the insight? What's the purpose for building this kind of infrastructure?
I think we, and a lot of this goes back to Salesforce and early kind of marketing tech background. We've seen like all of the major platforms. So look at Salesforce, even ExactTarget. A lot of them, they've become platforms and built ecosystems, and that's been like a major growth driver. You look at Salesforce's App Exchange and things like that. And so when we started the company, we knew We wanted to build like even like all of our infrastructure in an API first driven way. So basically, our UI is just, built on top of APIs that hit our backend, which means that anybody can really build anything on top of, our API. And it allows, for customers to use our product in a much more unique and robust way. Eventually, it'll allow us to easily have, a marketplace and an ecosystem of apps they can build on top of our platform. And really, it has kind of more of this like big tent feeling that makes your ecosystem, that makes, your customers, your partners, your vendors, your ISV partners, et cetera, like so much bigger. And I think just all of that to say, like from day one, we've kind of thought about this as a platform, in something where like we think that, Salesforce is a 25-year-old company today. Salesforce looks like it's a 25-year-old software company. And yet it runs, I don't know, 75% of the Fortune 500 or something like that. And I think that, if there's any chance at, a new technology disruption, like displacing Salesforce, I don't actually think it's AI, though, like it could be, but I think that Salesforce actually has a pretty big head start in AI. But I think it's like, could it be around the data structure? Because that's what we spend a lot of time thinking about. All of
you're right.
That makes everything here like work much more magically,
I think you're right. It like the data structure that is Web3 and then organizing it and getting it into all of these like customer facing experiences. It is such a mess. Like you can't just unwind it. You have to build from the ground up. So, all right, cool. All right, now we're getting into the really good stuff. So yeah, we're like in the platform, we're in the spaceship right now. What are we looking at?
And so this is, anyone's onboarding experience will be a little bit differently, but most oftentimes the first thing that happens is like, well, how do I bring data in? How do I acquire, users or customers? And we have, 3 or 4 different ways basically people can bring wallets in, bring, customer data in. One is like they can do it via API. The second is if they have an NFT contract, we can sync that contract automatically if they'd like. And so anytime, a new person engages with that contract, it'll add a contact record into the CRM database. You can upload a CSV, like many CRMs. But then one of the very first products we built, which is this on the screen here, was a Web3 form builder. So think of Google Forms, but instead of, connecting your Google account, you're OAuthing with your wallet instead. And so this is actually the builder where you can choose, hey, what do I want my page title to be? You can upload a cover photo, a headline, et cetera, and then choose, which fields do I want to collect? Do I want to OAuth somebody with Discord? Do I want to connect their wallet? We have subscription management. We're adding in an integration into a new product by Coinbase here as well. That'll be kind of a, subscribe on Coinbase basically. But this will let you, publish any form and start to collect users, and they'll come and collect, information. It could be an event registration form, could be a, sign up for a whitelist or allow list form, or anything like that. Collect emails for subscribers. And all that gets dumped into the CRM here.
Yeah. So step one in this like strategy is collect the data, and then kind of start connecting it. And then step two, well, very clearly outlined segmenting your data, learning about your customers.
Yeah. And so I kind of think of, it's acquire, segment, engage, send messaging, and then kind of how do I personalize and automate that?
And question, something I'd love for you to like key in on this is like, we are segmenting on-chain customers and on-chain audiences, but also connecting to like Web2 type stuff. So I'd love for like to geek out on sort of the different types of segmentation that is unique to Web3. And then anything else that you think is sort of strategically relevant when you're working in this kind of space. Yeah,
definitely. So here on this screen, you'll see, we have 100 contacts. This is like a marketing account that we use for holders. You have 100 contacts. You see my, address, drewbeecher.eth. I have 0.22 ETH in my wallet, 9. I hold 9 NFTs in total. So there's like a handful of different contracts that are connected into this account. And I, across all of these contracts, I hold 9 accounts. I should have done this later on. I actually have some screenshots on like a Jump demo account, but this one is not in a Jump account. You can have custom off-chain tags. So like, hey, and you see Drew and, Casey are part of the holder team. They have a holder team tag, and that's just off-chain data. I have email and phone number and other like custom fields in there, like job title or things like that too. I just have them hidden in there. If you go to the next slide, so now I'll start to show some of kind of the segmentation, and so the next slide too. So I'll start to build out a filter here. We have a lot of different filters from like blockchain data. We have social related data. So think of on-chain social, Farcaster, Lens. We throw POAP into social kind of as well.
Got it.
But even could be, a Twitter account, if you have a Twitter account connected, and Discord as well. We have a really interesting kind of Discord integration where you can pull in, members that are in your Discord community and how many messages they're sending. Messaging and contact properties are like holder related. So I'm going to look in here. So, hey, I want to see everybody who is following Drew Beechler on Farcaster, and I'm going to apply that filter. And then I'm also going to add, so you can see, hey, there's now 19 contacts. Of those 100, there's 19 that follow Drew on Farcaster. And then I'm going to add another filter to see, well, how many of those have XMTP enabled? So how many of them can I even message on XMTP? And then we also pull in like NFT ownership data too. So all of these are on-chain data. So I'm now filtering by, well, hey, I want to see everybody that holds a Sky Club. So I see Christian in there and Garrett and Maddie, that follows Drew on Farcaster and has XMTP enabled, meaning that I can message them on top of XMTP. I could also filter, like I could add off-chain filters too. So like, and company equals holder, or, title has marketing in it, or, has a tag of ETH Denver, 2024 event attendee, if you have some that kind of data in there.
So powerful. So interesting.
And so now, hey, I filtered down by, the 6 people that I think are really, important that I want to message or I want to kind of build into a campaign. I'm going to select those 6 contacts. You can see, down at the bottom, I can add them to a list. I can give them a tag. I can give them a role on Discord, even depending on kind of how your permissioning is set up. But I'm actually going to send these a message. So right from here, I could send, say, hey, hit send them an XMTP message. And then this is kind of the experience of building out that XMTP message. So those 6 users I know, already have XMTP enabled. And XMTP, just to kind of maybe take a step back, is
what is XMTP?
yeah. So this idea of like wallet to wallet based messaging, people have been working on this for quite some time. There's a handful of companies, a lot of them that have raised a ridiculous amount of money. Like it's really novel and unique and challenging topic. XMTP has emerged, I'd say, as one of the early kind of leaders in this space. Another early one was EPNS, that is now called Push Protocol. They're also doing really great things. XMTP, I've known a handful of the members of that team and have worked with them in the past. And so we've built prior to even Web3 lives. And so we built a really great relationship and kind of partnership with them. And the biggest challenge, I think, for Web3 based messaging is like, where are these people going to view the message? It's always this like two-sided marketplace. And so XMTP is just like the messaging rails. So it is very similar to SMS or SMTP. It is just the like technology layer that sends a packet of data, from one address to another address. So from, Drew at holder.xyz to Jeff at, jumpnation.xyz. That is like, SMTP. We are like the MailChimp on top of XMTP. So if you want to send an automated message, a bulk message to a group of, wallets, a personalized message, that's kind of where you want to use Holder for, essentially.
Got it. Question here. So one thing that I've been seeing sort of bubble up in the ecosystem, we've got Coinbase listed here. So it's like, oh, we all started with the Coinbase app and we're buying and trading Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden you can talk to people. Like you can kind of like DM/email. It's kind of this interesting blend kind of between the two. But basically every wallet, like, which this is where wallet becomes a weird term, kind of like your iPhone or your mobile phone, the last thing you use it for is actually a phone, right? Like you do all these other things other than talk to people. Wallets traditionally started out as things that you buy and sell, but they're very quickly actually transitioning into like a communication tool. And so when you blast out a message like this, or you segment a message, knowing that a wallet is going to be like, I don't know, there's dozens of wallets. I already feel like I'm going to have a bunch of wallets, and I'm going to like, am I going to get a message if I have like 4 different wallets, or, and then that my Coinbase wallet is connected to this app over here? Like, how many places can this message actually go? Like what's the actual distribution looks like? Because it seems like it's going to be quite broad.
Yeah, it really is, and that's what like XMTP's goal is. They are building, an interoperable, end-to-end encrypted, decentralized and permissionless kind of messaging layer. And so there's a handful of like kind of core tenets, I feel like, around all of that. So like, yeah, one is like, we want this to be interoperable. So like, and they want it to be owned by you, the wallet, owner. I own my messages. When I use WhatsApp or iMessage, I can't move to Android and port over all my iMessages to Android. If I want to leave WhatsApp and bring all of those conversations to Telegram, like that doesn't work. So that's kind of a lot of their whole premise is like interoperable, permissionless. If I wanted to move off of, some of the big inboxes today in XMTP or Converse to XYZ, I was just talking with their founder earlier today. He's a great guy based in Paris. And they built probably like the best like messaging experience on XMTP. Would highly recommend it. And it's only a messenger, like there's no wallet or anything else kind of tied to it. So it makes it really easy.
I like what you said there, the different inboxes, right? Because Coinbase clearly has an inbox in their wallet. And then you just described a inbox that's not for trading at all. It's purely just an inbox.
Yeah,
so
it's just a messaging inbox. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have big grand plans for where do we take this? And, and I'm not entirely sure like where all that's kind of heading to, but those are my messages show up in Converse and they show up in Coinbase. And one of the beautiful things too that I think is really, really important to kind of hit on related to this is, in contrast to email and SMS even, like the subscription state, like the allow block state even lives at the protocol level. Wow. So, I can block Jeff from messaging me when he sends me spam. Those messages are blocked in Converse. Those messages are blocked in Coinbase wallet inbox. Those messages are blocked in my hey.xyz DMs that are also.
Okay. So when a customer decides to break a relationship with a brand, it's like done.
Yeah, and it's and we're trying to kind of build a kind of a narrative around like, allowing and blocking someone to message you is also different from like actively subscribing and unsubscribing. And so we want to manage like an unsubscription state, which we help customers do that, or, hey, I'm subscribed to product updates and not to marketing, updates. And so that's kind of like a lot of like where we help with as well.
I think like another cool use case that we were actually talking about in an Uber there at Denver was around like almost like the ethical vampire attack in a way too, or collaborative in some senses, where you can find certain brands that, on-chain data is obviously public. It's a public ledger. These wallet addresses that everyone has that they use, they're on Etherscan. There's this public data when you connect to dApps and things like that. I'd be curious to hear your take on the ability to import a list of everyone who's used Uniswap, for example, to then, XMTP message them something around to use CowSwap instead or something like that. You remember that conversation? I think that'd be really interesting to kind of jam on too.
Oh yeah. And I think, there's a couple like components of it too. And I think that's what's unique with some of this like permissionless, decentralized like data layer even too. And I think this is what gets to like the ultimate like goal of like what I think is really interesting is like, I think there is a better way for marketing itself to be more like transparent, to be more like ownership focused, to be more like consumer oriented. But I think also like too, to be more like effective and efficient and like creative too. Like I think of like, when I'm in the market to like buy a car, for example, like, wouldn't you love to like raise your hand and tell all of the car manufacturers like, hey, I'm looking to buy a car right now, and like give me, shill me all you got. I want, all the deals you got. Like even in the CalSwap Uniswap example, like, if there's a better, if CalSwap has a better like price or a lower fee on like the pair that I'm about to trade, I'd love to know that. And as a consumer, like I think it's going to lead to better like choices. And so I think there's this opportunity where, and we're seeing some of the inboxes even think about this in terms of like, there's definitely spam on the network, and they've really cleaned that. We saw like spam just like hit the network really hard, and like call it, October, November to like February, really like January, like it was pretty hard in the XMTP network. Now, like all of the inboxes have a much better system for like, well, how do we completely block spam and hide spam? But there's even like a 3-tiered inbox. Think of like, the Gmail promotion inbox where there's like, hey, my messages from people that are allowed, my messages from people that are like promotional in nature. And this may even end up being in the future, like maybe I get paid by that brand to view the message or, to receive the message to my inbox. And then there's like, the straight up spam that just like gets filtered out almost entirely until I want to hunt down, and find the spam. But I think that there's a huge opportunity for like, how do you think about like almost like ethical, vampire attacks, but in this realm? And, you still have to think about, how does this marry with GDPR, marketing consent, and and all of that too. But I think that we're moving toward an interesting direction where like the user me as the consumer can have more control, can have more transparency, more ownership over like, who gets to message me and how and why, and what does my relationship with this brand look like, and how open is that relationship, and what happens if I no longer want them to message me. Like the consent layer can live at the network almost, which then right. As a brand, you think about, this is like in real kind of hypothetical, as a brand in GDPR land, like you're no longer like the data controller, you know what I mean? Like the user, like me, I am actually the data controller because I have, revoke privileges on my data. And so, I don't know, it starts to kind of bring up a lot of these really interesting kind of, ethical, or just like, what does the future of kind of marketing consent look like? But that's where a world where like, we want to move forward more and kind of continue to push on and help these brands drive more effective, more efficient kind of marketing. So this too, like, Jeff, you had something to say, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to start on that. So like in the Web2 world, if you went to a website and you threw your email address or your text message in there, like no one would throw their email address or phone number into a portal and say, every car dealership contact me, right? Because you know that you're going to be bombarded. You're never going to be able to get rid of these people. There's absolutely no control. So that product experience literally can't exist using email and phone number. As soon as you start to introduce wallets and you even abstract that away from people that aren't going to know the language, and it's just like, hey, set up an account, and then, use these different tools and request information from all the car manufacturers about what you're looking for. And then a bunch of AI starts like having conversations with you. And then the moment that you want it to stop, it's literally stop.
Yeah.
That's a totally different user experience. So I love that. Dan, thank you for that question. That was awesome.
Or like Drew said, reward. Like if you open it or if you interact with it, the instant reward capability of wallet to bring in the token aspect that's another really interesting content thread too. But cool. Yeah, for sure.
Drew, should we stick on this topic and slide, or should we keep going?
We can kind of jump in here. So like the next, like, this is still kind of driving to a lot of this, but I think kind of the next like step I feel like would be, well, hey, how do we think about, how do we automate or like personalize some of this? So like this is inside Holder Automation Builder. If you go to the next slide, we're going to go ahead and build like an automation together. And so this is when I jumped into a Jump account kind of demo here. And so we have a handful of different kind of triggers basically around like automation. So, hey, I want to set off this automation workflow. I'm put together one for, a new Sky Club mint. So if you hit, NFT transfer, you could also do this based on, a form fill, based on a message keyword, based on an API call. And, we'll be adding more and more triggers as well. But we started with NFT transfers. Message keywords are XMTP message keywords. So like if you text GM, to that address, and you get to choose which address, or if you text, ETH Denver to that address, then it fires off this kind of workflow. Mm-hmm. So this one, I'm going to come in and I can also add a specific filter on it too. So like for this example, say, hey, anybody who mints a Sky Club and, follows Jump community on Farcaster, or has posted in the /Jump channel on Farcaster even, because all of this is, interoperable permissionless data. But it could be also like, and they own another NFT, like they own medallions or they have 100 medallions or whatever. Wow. So you could also add a filter on this, which kind of adds to like the personalization aspect of like, how do we send people down decision trees? And then the action. So, we can add a tag, we can add them to a list. We can send them an email if you have their email address, or send them a wallet message based on XMTP.
So this automation, it's basically like there are Web2 online triggers and there are on-chain Web3 triggers. This is kind of like going to that idea of offline, online, on-chain, build an automation, set these triggers in that are a mix of online and on-chain, and then boom, have communication, have things happen in the back.
Exactly. How do we, mix on-chain and on-chain and regular digital marketing channels as an entrance, and like how do you mix, as an exit point too, and like the action that's taken could be on-chain, could be off-chain, and we'll continue to do more and more, in that space. But that's kind of what's live today, as well.
It's live. Go to holder.xyz. Please do that. It's a great product. Drew's awesome. Been in the Jump community, Sky Club community for a long time. We've got a couple of extra slides here, just showing off some cool stuff. Anything we want to cover here before we call it a day?
No, I think just I'd say like the biggest challenge we have, and things like this help because like is like what do I want to use wallet messaging for? And so how do I what kinds of campaigns, what do people want to hear? And then also like is it effective and things like that. And right. So that's sort of like we just try to kind of think of, think of it as like you do with email. Like anytime you want to email somebody, so whether it's like a triggered notification or to bring people back in the app, or just like an announcement or a newsletter, like try it with a wallet message. And I think, you'd be surprised that, especially if it's anything related to an on-chain action, like we're trying to get somebody to mint something, to swap, to, do anything that's like a, on-chain actions. It's so much better if it's already in the wallet and it's wallet contextualized and wallet aware. And this is just like one like quick kind of case study example with Zerion, one of the major wallet providers. They actually just announced they're doing a layer 2 here today. But when they launched, they started in mobile first. They launched an extension late last year, and we were working with their team on, we had tons and tons of people that had signed up for the wait list for their extension. They're doing a ton of their marketing in Discord. And we just like weren't seeing, or they just weren't seeing like where they wanted in terms of people signing up for the extension. And so we came up with a campaign using wallet messaging. Zerion doesn't even have an inbox, in their wallet. So most of these people were like receiving the message in Coinbase wallet inbox or in their Lens DMs. Nice. It's kind of funny. But we were just telling people, it was a product launch announcement, really kind of campaign. Hey, our extension is now live. And so we were driving extension downloads. And we saw probably 12 to 15x with that campaign than like what they were getting with the promotions in the Discord community and things. And so all that just to say that it's especially for like on-chain communities that are hard to reach. They didn't have any email addresses or things like that for some of these folks. It's a much more effective, channel.
I literally don't know why, if you have a large on-chain community, why you wouldn't be using Holder. Like I can't, I can't come up with a good reason like why you would not be participating and using this product.
It is like another channel, and like we are
Yeah.
like marketers are just, way too many channels, because now it's like, oh, I also, in addition to like X and Facebook and LinkedIn and, our TikTok account, I got to also now post it on Farcaster, and I got the email newsletter, and I got, the Mirror newsletter, or, my paragraph. And it's just, that is hard, where it's like, it is one more channel, but I do believe that like it is way more effective and is going to drive a lot more like conversions and on-chain activity as a channel. And especially if it's a group that like you aren't able to reach or haven't had a great relationship with. I think it's a really great channel, and everyone should definitely test and try it out. And we're happy to work with folks to do that.
Love that you've done like the drag and drop like flow too of things, and to your point, with so many different channels, to then just be able to copy paste different boxes and move it into like, this trigger hits these 5 channels, then automatically with this message you get a message in your wallet, you get an email, these different platforms. That's a huge time saver, and that's awesome. I love that. So nice one there.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been quite the 45 minutes that I was hoping for. Exactly. Nailed it. Love this conversation. Conferences. Drew, you love to go to conferences, Web3 conferences. What are you going to next?
I do. I think I just officially scratched NFT NYC off.
Oh,
yeah. I don't think I'm going to make it. I've been traveling a lot the last, 30 days or so. And so I just felt like to add another one in April. I do plan on being in Consensus. Consensus is always a good time.
awesome.
Garrett and the team over there at CoinDesk know how to throw a really good event. ETH Denver was amazing. Consensus is like my big one. FarCon as well. So this will be the
nice.
year they're doing FarCon, and they're doing it this year in Venice, in LA, Venice Beach, and I'm super pumped about it. It's going to be a very small group of kind of very focused on like builders and people in the space, and it's going to be good. No, Christian, I'm not as of yet permissionless in Salt Lake.
Come see me. Come see me in Salt Lake.
No, yeah. To see you guys is definitely worth the trip. And it's an easy flight from Indy, but I don't even know when permissionless is this year. Actually, I'll have to look at it.
Tell us when permissionless is. Hopefully he types it super fast.
And FarCon is the first week in May, like May 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. Is when FarCon is, and there's going to be a hackathon component of it too. So I think it's going to be like 250 people. So pretty small. But I wrote something about this recently too. I think FarCon, they're really trying to, like, Dan Romero and Varun, like the Farcaster, founders are like, I think they're going to give a presentation on like the state of Farcaster, but like they're not organizing it in any way. Like it's really trying to be like from the community like run and built. And I'm helping with some of the folks on some of that, but which has been a ton of fun just to like meet more people in that space. But it's like, it's Ted and Graham and Erica and Dylan and all those people like that are like a handful of like 10 people that are doing it. It's they're putting it all on. So it's going to be pretty, I think, bespoke, 250, 300 people. There's a Farcaster hackathon. It's like going to happen that weekend. It's going to be good.
This is basically the first Web3 social event ever.
Yeah. And it's like I would compare it to like, it's going to be part, I think, whatever Meta's is like, developer conferences, or like like Apple's like WWDC conference. Like I think that's what like it has the opportunity to become. but it's also like very like community oriented. So it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's not just like the developers. So it'll be really, really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to turn into something awesome. And then thank you, Christian. Permissionless in Salt Lake City's October 9th to 11th. So you'll definitely, anybody watching, find myself and Christian there as well. So, all right, with that, Drew, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you. Dan, thank you as well. And then also thank you to everybody who tuned in. I think we're breaking numbers here in terms of, of live viewers. So that's fantastic. We'll be back next week for our last live demo event. We're doing a 3-week sprint. This is week number 2. Next week, we're going to chat with the Perks team. Really cool stuff kind of in the like the Shopify frames, like Web3 kind of commerce type of space. So hope everybody comes back for that. And then if you hold the Sky Club NFT, we're actually going to hop into Discord and chat and hang out and do a little networking and catch up with each other. So join us in Discord. With that, how about Drew, Dan? Let's all give everybody a nice salute here. Signing off. Take care, everybody.